you're joining us from, and welcome to another Play Weird stream. I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours. My name's Ben of Ashenhold Art, and we are going to be continuing with work on Mr. Charles Hoffman of the Guild and the Arcanists. So we're getting to a point, I think, where we're almost ready to move on to doing a bit more of his mechanized suit. As if you're not tuning in, but if you tune in for the first time, rather words, I actually have his backpack here separately just to make painting the figure a little bit easier. So I think we're probably going to dive right in and start shading the trousers or the pants for American or North American viewers. Hello, Yayosh. Thank you for dropping by. So I think we will use a bit of dried bark to shade. Ah, yes. Carry on with the editing duties. Quite all right. So I've just got my sheet of primed plastic art here. That's what we're painting on. I'll show you. I have been painting away. Oh, camera does not like that. There we go. So here we are, dryad bark, just straight on there. Reason we're using the primed plastic card is because this emulates the surface that we're painting on, so it means that we get a good idea of how our paint is going to behave on the palette before we even put it anywhere near the model. So it means that there's a bit less guesswork involved. So what I'm going to do is just thin this right down and then gather that up in my brush, and I'm just going to start pushing that in to the shadows there. Create some nice shadow on the model. It's a little bit subtle now because so I'm going to do this first layer. We want to sneak up on it. We don't want to create too drastic a transition between our colors and give ourselves more work when it comes to correcting those mistakes. So we'll start with the dryad bark, and then we might even go a little bit darker, in which case I'll probably just add a little bit of black to the dryad bark. And then that is going to give us a nice bit of shadow there. You don't want to go pure black in any of the shadows here. So not being too neat with this at the moment. Just trying to get an extra bit of color in here just now. That. I'm pulling that down to this area here. there's going to be a little bit more shadow. If we do make a mess of it, we don't need to worry, because what we can do is we can just go back over it with a little bit of the chocolate brown, which I might do, because there's quite a lot of folds and creases in here. We just get a bit more character in there, and you can already see we've got a bit more depth there. It looks a bit more natural. Good evening, Scarlet in Wonderland, and thank you for dropping by. So what you can do is you can go back and you can build that up a little bit more if you want that color to be a bit stronger, as we've done here. And that is looking, that's starting to look pretty good. Oh no. Yeah, we've all been there. The worst is when you clip something off the sprue and then you just see the tiny shape disappear the other side of the room. I've done that one plenty of times. So there's actually, you found it good, but I do have a good tip for that my friend told me about. So see if you get your vacuum cleaner with like the hose attachment, put a sock over it, and then go over the floor like that with the sock. Sock will obviously stop it getting sucked up. You should catch it that way. But if you can't see it, torch isn't working for you, or your carpet's got a thick pile to it, sock over the nozzle of the vacuum cleaner. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Playweird's a pro. I've not actually tried doing that myself yet. So we'll need to give it a go at some point. Most of the time, I've been fortunate enough where I've been able to recover any bits that I've dropped really quick. So yeah, so I'm gonna do some darker bits, so you don't want to use too much black with this. Just a little, and just mix that in. Because like I was saying, you don't want to go too dark with it. You could probably do just another one of those, like that. Yeah. So it's a very, very dark brown we've got. But like I was saying, we don't want to go pure black. There might be times where you want to go pure black, like some people quite like this sort of comic book cell shaded style where you would use an almost black color. Then we just want right in those absolute darkest bits. Right in there. Right in there. Like that. So, yeah, welcome. Don't eat raw haggis. The interesting username with some sage advice also. I've never eaten raw haggis, but yeah, would not recommend it. So I would say it's probably been that's a really good question. I think so far it's probably been the stubble, because I feel like that is something that is very easy to overdo. It's very much a part of the model where less is more. I think we've managed to pull it off reasonably well. It's one that putting stubble on is one of these things where all it takes for me in stubble is to do, yeah, exactly. It's one of these things where as much as when stubble's done well, it looks very, very impressive. I feel like it's definitely one of those things where the fewer brush strokes you can do it in, the better the effect looks. I think if you get to a point where you're messing about with it a lot, that's when it starts to quickly go south. So sorry, I've got a hair stuck in my hand or something. But again, that's something that could probably be said of a lot of things, to be honest. There's a lot of things where I think if you're spending loads of time on it and altering it a lot, it can just come up looking like a real mess. So yeah, like it, in short, I'm happy with what we accomplished with the stubble. I do think that I definitely need to change his lips a little bit. So I'm actually going to. It's all been sprayed a metallic color. But what I'm going to do is I will, anything that's not going to be metal goes back to black. Just a Negro black by Lego model color. This is the only black that you need in your life. I've got like 3 bottles of it sat here. Um, no, I mean, it just depends how you manage your paint. To be honest, like this whole model was. I'm really sorry for people that tune in all the time, but I've only got a few Malifaux models that I've painted, but this guy was all black primer. Just managing the paint well. It's how you manage the paint. So, if you are interested in zenithal priming, though, both like Doug did a stream last week. Was it the week before? I'm losing track here. I think we're on week 3 of Play Weird now. Anyway, Doug's talked on stream quite a bit about zenithal priming. It's not something that I do, and the reason that I don't do it is just I've never found it particularly beneficial, to be perfectly honest. And then there's another one where obviously it's a bit more subtle, but the eyes on this guy is just black built up to dark red. Doug will be on tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah, so if you want to ask him about zenithal priming, then he's the guy to ask. I just don't do it. I almost always will work from a black primer and then we'll spray it a predominant color if there is one. So a great example, the other hunters that I've got to work on, they've just been sprayed metal. And yeah, as Playweird says, we've all got different approaches to it. It doesn't mean that one approach is right or one is wrong. It's just what works for you. And I've tried priming in different colors. I've tried zenithal priming. I personally just don't get on with it, so I just work from black, sometimes grey. But here's an example of another one. We've got this Explorer Society hopeful prospect ready to go, which I think I might do this guy pretty soon. Take a little break from augmented. So yeah, this is how I paint. So right, like we'll highlight those britches. I'm just getting my colours back because I used Gobi Brown for the waistcoat or the vest, if you prefer. I think I used brown leather, didn't I? So far, the augmented are the only models I've run in Malifaux Third. Moving to Sonia or Dashel, maybe. Oh well, I mean, you'll be more clued up than me. I have yet to play a game of Malifaux, let alone Malifaux Third. So I'm curious, how did you find augmented? Because they're probably who I'm going to be running. Did I do? I think I did. I'm trying to figure out what I did here, guys. This is why you should take notes. But I think personally, I'm probably going to flip between doing the augmented and Hoffman works well giving out power tokens. Okay, so he's a lot of synergy. Then it sounds like, because if there's a lot of synergy, then it's right up my street. Love me a bit of synergy. So I was thinking of running my augmented as arcanists so that I could get access to the mechanical rider, because I was looking through my options. I just thought that there's potential to pull off some cool shenanigans with the mechanical rider, but that's just theory, for Mala theory. It's not doing that in practice, Very survivable, can become deadly with a number of positive twists. Well, I mean, just from when I was looking at it, again, correct me if I'm wrong here. I am a novice when it comes to playing the game. It seemed to me that a lot of the Arcanist upgrades complemented the augmented very well, like the diesel engine upgrade on Hunters seems like it would be really nasty. And then looking at the mechanical rider, I just thought that looks really cool. With it being a construct, I guess there's a lot of cross compatibility there with the augmented. So a little bit of Arabic shadow to do some highlights on the and good to see you, Vuruk. My apologies. I'm glad you've I'm glad you like that bass. It's a lot of fun making it. I think I am hoping so. I am hoping to show you guys how I make those basses. If I had planned things a bit better, then I wouldn't have made all of the bases for my augmented crew in one fell swoop. However, I've been a fool and I already built them all. So just not getting too fancy here, just emphasizing a lot of the crinkles and creases here. I think initially I'm probably going to run Hoffman as guild though, because I've got my augmented crew and I actually have the Brutal Fate box set up there. So I think I'm going to be running that initially, just to get me started. Just using very, very small amounts of paint here. Don't want it to be too opaque. Still on holidays here, but no longer living in a tent. Hey, some more time to check out the streams. Great stuff to watch while I assemble my Nephilim. Ooh. So is that is it Nekima? Is that her name? Is it that? Is it that crew? Is that what you're working on? Weird Kyle. Hoffman's looking great so far. Thank you, sir. I'm pleased with how he's looking so far. See? I've been doing my homework, guys. Yeah. Gone is the naive fool of week one of the Play Weird stream. I've been learning stuff. New version of Hoff should be fun too. Yeah, I really like that model. I think he's going to be a really interesting challenge, painting wise, because you've got the big lightning arcs, you've got all that metal, and then he's got fancier clothes now, hasn't he? So there's a lot you could do with him. I actually think I might have a go at painting the pattern on his waistcoat and everything. Really go to town on him. I think I'm hoping to pick that box up as well, because the Von Schill model looks really nice as well. It's like a crazy mashup of Darth Vader and Hulk Hogan, isn't he? With that respirator on. Two of the most formidable fighters that I can think of off the top of my head right there. It's a hell of a combination, that. Melissa Core is a great henchman for Hoffman, especially when he's going up against summoners. Destroyed a nice group of Dashell's killed patrol. He just... Oh, I bet your opponent loved that. Red Joker, and then you just unload the old Gatling gun. Mr. Popular, that game, I bet. Making all the friends. Still one on schemes. Darth Vader versus Hulk Hogan was my favorite WrestleMania. I still don't know who would win, guys, because I mean, Darth Vader would be doing all of his force powers, right? But then what happens when Hulkmania takes hold? There's no stopping that. Darth Vader just needs to take cover and wait for it to blow over, you know? Right, anyway, enough nonsense. So it's never enough nonsense. Who are we kidding? Right. I think I need to sort out his waistcoat before we move on, because we need to do waistcoat because it's inside before we do these leather straps. Hello. Focus camera. Great. Yeah. Because there's a little bit of waistcoat showing just on the inside there. So let's do that. So we've got, this is Gobi brown, which is a sort of olive khaki brown. It's going to look a bit like suede, hopefully. At least your opponent still won though, because I think that's a real. I'd be on full tilt mode. I think if that happened to me, summoned my patrol and then they just got obliterated, I'd probably cry. Well, I mean, who knows? Might even end up doing the new Hoffman on this stream. Might not be me, right enough, but the new vest does look very smart. Very, very dapper. As befits a gentleman. Still trying to learn how to de-escalate bad game feels. Usually I try to help my opponent look at it from a more analytical perspective, but it depends on the person. Yeah. I think It's okay to feel frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated sometimes, right? It's what you do with the frustration, because just because you feel frustrated doesn't mean, for instance, that it's fine to moan about luck throughout the whole game. That's something I think you see a lot when people are quite badly tilted, is they start to complain about their opponent's luck rather than acknowledging that they've perhaps made a mistake, or their opponent has played something really well. And that, I think, that separates the really good players from the okay ones. I think is that ability to mitigate luck and to realize what decisions that they've made during the game um, that were good, and what were bad. I think analyzing stuff definitely helps. Um, I think I think just helping people a bit. I think if someone has a bad game, it's probably part of analyzing it, is not just analyzing it, but maybe like giving them like suggestions. I think it's always important in a game. Some people maybe disagree with me on this, but there's been some pretty horrible stuff I've seen in some other competitive tabletop things where someone's maybe made a mistake or has forgotten a rule or something that they have, and it's actually affected the outcome of the game. I think you should always. I think you should always remind your opponent if they've forgotten something. I think if you're having to resort to underhanded things like your opponent forgetting something to win things, then that's a pretty slippery slope. That maybe try to do some golden brigade. Got some 10 thunders. Could use some flowers on the kimonos, but I'm too afraid of freehand. Sounds like we're going to need to do some freehand on stream. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I think we'll do a bit of freehand at some point. Okay, so let's get this waistcoat finished up before we move on to something else. So I think I'm just going to shade this with, because we don't, as much as we do want to make different elements of the model distinct from one another, if you introduce too many colors to the model, that's when things can start to really clash quite badly. So although we're using different base colors for the trousers and the vest or the waistcoat, I'm actually going to shade them both the same way. I'm going to use fairly similar colors to highlight, so it means that we're getting a bit of visual harmony across the model. So a little bit of shadow in there. Like that with the hairdryer. We'll do another pass on it. Bit more water in there. Do a little bit of our Gobi brown, that olive colour again, just to smooth that blend out a bit. Freehand can be scary. There's times I've shied away from it for sure. But I think it's something that we should do on the stream. So I'll have a little think about that. About how we could incorporate a bit of that. Because the other thing I think people make the mistake of thinking when you're doing freehand that you kind of need to go all out, but you can do little bits. You know? I think we might need to so we're highlighting leather now, so this can actually afford to be, the highlights can be like a slightly harder edge to them, because leather doesn't have that sort of fluid quality that softer materials do. So, scratch this up a bit, I think. we do, so we want a really sharp point on our brush for this next bit. So see that? I'm just gonna if you see like old suede gets all kind of scratched up, doesn't it? Oh, there's lots. So by that, do you mean a technique that I've struggled with, or one that's taken me a long time to get to like a level that I'm happy with? I suppose that could be the same thing, couldn't it? It's just, I guess, okay. Well, the reason I was saying that is because there's some stuff that I've done where at the time I've gone, that looks great. And then it's evolved over time. And I look at the way I do it now and then look back on the way I've done it before and I think, yeah, that was terrible. And I've not realized necessarily how much it's progressed. I would say one that I've struggled with. There's a lot of things that I've struggled with, but I've done a bit of experimentation, or I've gone to a painter who I think's better than me and asked them like what I can do differently. To be honest, I would say see what you're seeing me doing now. See really fine edge highlighting. That takes a lot of work because it's not just about brush control. You have to train your eyes to see better, if that makes sense. So like for instance, like a lay, what you can end up doing, like people will talk. Let's look at this waistcoat for a minute here, the corner here. People will talk about doing like a 2 or 3 stage highlight, and a lot. I'm trying to think how to say this. A lot of people will not necessarily see that it's a 3 stage highlight. They'll just see a nice edge highlight and they think that looks great, and then they get on with their day. When you start trying to do multi-stage highlights, what you end up doing is you can make them too thick. So the highlight would maybe start like here. So you end up making them too thick because you're trying to get all those stages in, and you're maybe starting too early with your first highlight. Or the other thing that you can end up doing is you just end up covering your previous stages with your subsequent highlights. So it's you need to be able to actually, yeah, I think that's a tough one. Sounds like a really simple thing, but it's one of these things where if you can learn to do it well, it unlocks so many other things for you. It's just a lot of practice and good self-awareness, and that kind of fits into both, I think, because there's highlighting that I've done, and at the time I think, yeah, that looks boss, really happy with that. And then I look at something that I've done more recently and compare it to that thing that I thought looked great, and you think, oh man. But that's why it's good to keep old models around, because it reminds you of how much progress you've made, of how far you've come. And it's always good to look back on older stuff. So I'm doing a bit of far brown again, nice thin. Because there we go. I was going to say, like, just after all that preaching about edge height and like highlighting, watch me screw up this. But I think I've managed it. And then put a little bit of a point in the corner there where we've got a little bit more wear. What we can even do to convey more worn and frayed look. Little dots on that highlight. So other masters I'm looking into, definitely Lord Cooper. I really like the look of him. I like quite a lot of the Explorer Society masters, to be honest. I like a lot of the guild ones as well. So I think Lord Cooper's next on the list. And yeah, same. There's a lot of like Victoriana in this Explorer Society as well, which I really love. Is that the Explorer Society feel quite Lovecraftian to me as well. You know, like all the weird aesthetes and academics that are exploring this ancient and lost civilization. That's really strong cosmic horror vibes from them, and I really like that about the Explorer Society. I like the look of the Nexus as well. I think all the Cadmus stuff would be really fun to paint. Be an interesting challenge as well to to do that. You know, they've got that really sort of pasty kind of alien skin with the big bug eyes. I like the look of that. I quite like the look of Hamlin, actually, with all of his rat pals. I have heard that that as far as like playing goes, I've heard people say that that is quite a difficult. It's quite a difficult master because he's got so many activations with all of his rat pals. So but I would say yeah. So I don't know if he's one that I would actually play, but I really like the models. I think that they'd be really fun to paint. They're really interesting, especially Hamlin. Because like for me, I'm always kind of in two minds, but not in an indecisive way about stuff that I want to collect because it has to be something that I really, really want to paint. As I would say, that's almost a foremost decision for me. It's the rule of cool. If I really like the model, then yeah, I'm all in. It almost doesn't matter what the play style is. So I love all the Lord Cooper stuff with all the Apex things, especially that Malosaurus Rex. I love that model. Right. Anyway, I'm going to glaze a little bit of red leather over the straps. So that, as you can see, that's like a red brown, but it's quite rich. And that's a lot of medium in that. See, he's a great paint, scale 75, but man, have you got to come on. It feels sometimes like they fill the bottles a bit too much. If that makes sense. I think we can go with that maybe. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just gonna glaze this just to punch a little bit more color into the leather. No. Just kind of blobbing it on here and there for now. I think I need to tidy that shoulder up a little bit, so a little bit more right upside. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I have heard that that Hamlin's playstyle's a bit mad, so I don't know that I would necessarily be in a rush to play that, especially as I'm still learning. Maybe when I've maybe when I've wrapped my head around the game a bit more. But another one that I've just remembered that I really like the look of is Parker Barrows. Just because I just love cowboys, guys. That's all there is to it. Usually get comfortable with the play style of Malifaux Crews and Masters after 3 games or so. Yeah, I think that's true of like just about anything, right? Is that you probably need to give it a bit of time before you can make a fair decision whether it's for you or not. He's also getting a new badass model for his new title in Malifaux Burns, Parker Barrows, isn't he? A dead man walking. Yeah, he's looking mean. He's looking very, very mean. I think it probably will be a permanent change because of the living story thing. Or maybe it'll be something like and just that this is, I don't know anything about upcoming releases. I generally find out about them when you guys do. But I mean, maybe it's one of these things where it's like a form that they take on. Like an aspect of their personality, because there's the new because Maxine's new title is Megalomania, I think, isn't it? Sort of like she's been consumed by her ambition. But from what I understand, the idea going forward is that everyone's going to get an additional title, and you'll be able to choose which one you use for playing that master. So presumably that there's going to be some kind of explanation for why people are able to hop between. Well, I've started listening to the Breachside broadcast right from the beginning, so I'm catching up on all the story stuff, which has been very interesting. So we're going to highlight leather, I think. Going to use a mix of Thar brown and chocolate brown. So this I know, the story of how Collodi is killed is in the third edition guild book, because I was reading it just the other day. I really like that story, actually. So just go in and basically describing the outline of the leather straps with this mix of brown leather and Thar brown. Sadly, I need to get the Wake the Dead box for those Death Mark. They're really cool models. Got the other guy waiting over there. Actually, do you know, that's a point I've just thought of. We're talking about doing freehand. We could maybe have a go at doing a bit of freehand sometime on the book for jury. Could do some creepy arcane symbolism or something in here, couldn't we? That's a thought. Yeah, maybe we can do that at some point. Since we'll be talking about freehand. Ooh. You went with a Welsh dragon, nice. So pick the leather out a little bit more, but I think that's looking good so far. It's not too distracting. So. And don't eat raw haggis. You are giving me lots of ideas for future streams here, so can definitely do darker skin tones. And I do agree with you that there's sadly a lack of that out there. You know, I did hear that because he was mentioned in one of the Breachside broadcasts I was listening to. I think he's actually from the Pacific Northwest. I could have picked that up. So just trying to get a bit of texture in here because I imagine these straps here are going to be quite excessively worn and being handled quite a bit. We need to tidy that up a bit. It's a bit of a mess. So I'm going to use some rain oxide. Oh, thank you for the follow. Gunshot. And thank you, Play Weird, for thanking him. Just trying to keep this. Okay, I might go back and fuss over that a little bit later, but I do just with some pure Thor brown. Just stippling a little bit of this on. Just tiny, 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 tiny. Just because he's very much a Dapper Dan with his new model. This silk vest and all. But this is like Charles Hoffman, inventor, is like Charles Hoffman. When he gets summoned to National Society meeting, he's doing his TED talk. This is Charles Hoffman, where he's just tinkering in his garage. Rainy afternoon, 31 guild models left to reach to purchase to complete the entire. Wow, nice. You are devoted to the guild. I like gilt too. I just build my own bases. Like a Badlands. Kind of Mojave Desert meets steampunk kind of look I was going for with this. Just one of them unpainted. But yeah, I'm gonna scratch build some of these for you guys on stream sometime. So quite a few folk are intrigued by how I did those bases. So thank you. Yeah, it's a design I like. So I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the guild stuff all sort of desert themed. I'm not too happy with that right strap, but I'll fidget with it later because I know I'd said last time that I was going to get some pictures up for you guys. I'll definitely get them up this week because we're definitely at a good stage. Try to do desert themed on my lawyer models. It was very new to do my own basin. Got green and it became swamp. Yeah. I mean, it's Malifaux, right? Like, it's probably times the lawyers have to go into the swamp to litigate against the gremlins, something like that. So right, I think we're gonna pick out some of the metal bits now. So we are going to switch brushes. Artist Opus. The reason we do that is one, because we want to avoid contaminating the other paints with metal flecks, because that's basically how metallic paints are made, right? It's like they're full of little metal flecks, pigment and medium. And what can happen is I've got my, so I do a separate paint pot as well. So separate paint pot, separate brushes, then you don't have any problems with metal. We got some Procryl bronze. And I'm going to use this for the goggles. So it's a great paint, this. See it there? It's a great color. Great coverage. So this is by Procryl Monument Hobbies. So Hoffman's very steampunky. He's got to have some brass goggles, right? The main thing just now is to get that. So I'm going to go back and I'll redo the lenses. Just want to get as much the brass shown there as possible. Oh, thanks, man. You got to boost them on for another half hour. But yeah, catch you in the next one. Otherwise, I think I'll be back this time next week. But I'm still here. for the rest of you guys for another half hour. There, starting to look like an inventor. And a little bit of black metal. I'm going to do the straps in this color. And the buckles. Or the straps, I should say. He's starting to read really well now because we've already got so much contrast in this little area. Then I'm going to put the I'm going to do the black back onto the lenses. I'm starting to lose the point on this brush a bit, I think. I'm just using tiny amounts of paint for this because I don't want to flood it and make a mess of it. I'll probably paint a little bit of a reflection or something on there. Just subtle, but that's a good start anyway. Right, will we make a little start on the legs then? I think we're just about there, so let's go for it. So I'm not going to do the brass edging on it just yet. I think there's some bits there I can see that maybe I'm gonna black out before we go, like these bits in between the joints here. So, oh, we've got the black paint there. Let's get them. They look as though they're like pneumatic or maybe some cables. So it's reading a little better already, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm just looking at that. I think this is trouser leg continuing down there. So I think put it in black first and then we'll paint a bit of brown in it. That's what it looks like to me anyway. So this should be cloth. And we'll paint these vents in. If anyone has any hobby related questions they'd like to ask, please feel free to chime in. Is there something that you're perhaps particularly looking forward to with the upcoming Malifaux Burns expansion? And also in it was today's Waldo's Weekly, we got a bit more information on the Resurrectionist versus Guild other side box that's coming out, so and the good thing about this box is everything can be used in the other side and Malifaux. And I think most of it is versatile as well, so it means that you can use them in a multitude of different ways in Malifaux. What a time to be alive, huh? Lots of exciting stuff coming out. Oops. Drifting a bit. So there, we've put in those vents. I might tidy them up a little bit more, but you can see how much better our model is beginning to read. And it's like all this life and colour is trickling down. So, let's start blending some of the metals then. So, I'm going to do this a little bit differently from how I did the hunter. So I've got some black metal here. Okay. I'm going to feather this in. Just using a little bit of wet blending, like so. Yeah. So it's subtle, but that's just our first little bit of metal there. So I'm going to go around and start doing that. One day I will be able to make metallics look as good as you do. Yeah, you will. I'm still learning stuff as well. We're all learning together. And that's the beauty of it, guys. You never stop learning. You should always be learning, as Play Weird says. Just feather that in again, like so. Sometimes hear people talking about feathering. Sometimes you'll hear them talking about wet blending. Basically the same thing. As always, it's good to sneak up on it again. That's our watchword. Small incremental changes. We don't like big sweeping changes here. And so you may be wondering about how I'm deciding where to put the darker metal in. And the answer is that and this is all part of your this is a little bit of where like the to zenithal prime versus to not zenithal prime debate comes in, because there's a certain argument that with zenithal priming you have a reference for how your light is falling on the model. I actually just look at the way that the light is falling under the model as I'm working on it. So you see, for instance, let's look at here. See the way the light behaves on this is this area around here is lighter and this here's up here is much darker. So what that means is I'm going to pull my highlights down right to here, and then I'm going to push the darker colors right in there like that. A bit of shadow there, put some in there. Like that. And you really want, if possible, to have your metals carry a suggestion of movement. And we do that by putting in blooms of light as opposed to linear light. But again, that might be a stylistic choice. Like some people, you can see the difference there between those two back panels. This has got the first lot of shading in it. This doesn't. Big difference already. But we're going to build on that and we'll push it. But when it comes to lighting, and we're doing like our true metallic metals as we're doing here, we talk in terms more of blooms of light than bars or beams. Bars and beams don't really move, whereas blooms do. And this either it means that our shadows and the highlights are more natural. And it just means that the model's going to look a lot better for it too. But then, like, you do have sharp edges here, so it means that you're going to have like starkly different planes of light. You'll sometimes hear them referred to as, or zones. Sometimes people call them zones. So you'll still get a bit of shadow here, but obviously still shadow here. Obviously, because we've got a sharp edge here, we're in a different plane of light here. It becomes a lot darker. Like so. Yeah, feather that in a little bit. So you can see, hopefully, marked difference. There'll be some areas that will come out that looking a little bit patchy. Just need to go over them again. And comes with experience. But sometimes you want to decide if a mistake is worth correcting there and then, or if it's going to work itself out as you go. Connect with Bean. Okay, yeah, so that is us. We're just about done here, I think. So I'm going to finish up what I've done here tonight later on. I'll get some pictures up on the socials for you guys to get a good look at. Because like I've said before, it's a lot of the colours and the lighting it's very different on the video camera to what it is in the hand on the actual camera. But we are making some very nice progress with Mr. Hoffman here. And I hope you guys are enjoying watching him take shape. But that is me for tonight. Eleanor and Doug will be back tomorrow, so make sure to tune in for that. Otherwise, I will see you next week, Monday and Wednesday. Bye-bye.